Welcome back to Home is Where the Hearts Are. This is Build Episode 6. The next major step was for James and Nick to cut the butcher block to fit our 2 kitchen counters. This was obviously a huge step that made James pretty nervous, understandably so. We had one shot to cut accurately on this butcher block, so we didn't get into a bad situation with our budget. Once the kitchen counter was rough fitted in, I gave the look of approval, if you want to call it that, and then it was time to figure out exactly where our sink and stovetop were going on the butcher block.
Whoosh! Latte on a full moon night. Whoosh! Latte on a full moon night.
Thanks for that, Nick. Anyways, we chose to do an undermount sink, but after measurements and discussion, James and Nick determined it was best to start with the stovetop cut instead. James got the measurements from the underneath of the stove and transferred that to a piece of scrap cardboard. They then traced the lines and got to cutting. James started by using the skill saw to work the line as close to the corners as he felt comfortable with. Then he used our Ryobi jigsaw for the detailed cuts of the corners. Woohoo! The section for the stovetop was removed. They rough fitted the stovetop in to make sure it fit, and sure enough it did, so they called it a night. The next morning, James got started on installing our on-demand tankless water heater. The first step was to cut yet another hole into the sidewall of the trailer. This hole serves as the exhaust hole for our water heater. We used a 4-inch hole saw to make this cut, and James cut slow and steady through each layer of our wall to make it a clean cut.
Gonna have to touch up the paint a little.
Oh, that bad? Well, this is the reality of a build. Nothing is perfect and oopsie moments happen all the time. We rough fitted the exhaust vent cover into the 4-inch hole to make sure it fits snugly. And the next step was to smooth out the edges, secure the vent tube through the wall to the vent cover, and then mount the water heater. We needed to make sure there was a tight seal so exhaust couldn't leak back inside. We also knew that this area had the potential to get pretty hot. That's when we found out about Fireblock insulating spray foam, which helps to keep a fire retardant barrier between where the exhaust gets hot and any combustible materials. And just a friendly tip, it is orange in color and it does harden that way, so be mindful of where you spray it. The next step was to cut the hole for the sink. The guys followed the exact same process of starting with the skill saw and ending with the jigsaw to get the corners nice and clean. After eating a quick snack, we got back to work by rough fitting the butcher block into place to see how the sink, stove, and faucet would ultimately fit. The next day, James dedicated a good chunk of time sanding the butcher block to the smoothest finish I've ever felt. He rounded each edge perfectly and created these professional and beautiful edges, as you can see.
So we've got our cutting board cut out that will lay over the sink. And what are we about to do?
We are about to paddle bit a finger hole so that we can reach down and pull this up out of the sink, because it is an undermount sink with about a 1/2 inch reveal around the edge, so this butcher block can sit down on top of the sink but still be level and flush with the rest of the countertop.
Okay.
So I gotta find my measuring tape.
We placed our hole about 2 inches up from the edge and used a 1-inch paddle bit to bore the hole.
Alrighty, so we are taking a really big step and we are going to oil our butcher block for the first time. All we are doing, because it was important to both of us, mainly me, for the color. I didn't want it to be a warm yellow, and that normally happens when you add like tung oil or any sort of of the other oils. It makes it, it gives it that warm yellow. So we went with this clear mineral oil. This is Howard cutting board oil. And this is literally food safe mineral. The guy, we watched a video about it and he was like, you can toss this on your salad. So we won't be doing that, but it is food safe. And so we are taking a big step and we are going to oil our butcher block for the first time. We got all the cutouts done for the stove and the sink. And yeah, we are going to oil everything. The clear oil I guess we'll find out. We wanted this wood to stay, as natural and as light as possible. No yellow. So let's hope that this doesn't yellow it. So what is my first step? My directions are going to be coming off camera, so.
Douse your rag.
Douse the rag.
Yes,
not
douse.
Put it directly.
You don't. I mean, there are different ways. Yes, you can put the oil on the butcher block first, but usually it's recommended to just moisten your rag.
So I'm gonna douse my rag.
Yeah, just douse your rag because it's gonna soak up a lot of the oil first. Okay, and then just get that all over in your rag.
Like everywhere?
Everywhere, yeah.
Oh wow, like completely.
Not completely soaked, but now you're good there. You're good there.
Now, I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. Nothing to be nervous about.
But on the surface, do I look calm and ready?
You do. You look
bombs.
But you keep on forgetting when you broke down the whole crowd goes around.
Shout out to Eminem.
Okay, so you good there?
Okay, so.
So now you're just gonna go
like
with the green.
With the green.
Long.
Well, what does that mean?
Long with
Not
the green.
this way.
Yeah, correct.
So
Not this way. This way.
Right.
And then just.
All right, here it goes. Here goes
nothing. Oh yeah, look at that. That's nice.
Oh darn! It's kind of giving it a.
It's wet, but it's gonna dry a little bit, and it's okay.
Just like it gave it that yellow sheen immediately.
Baby love, I think it's okay. It's not yellow. It's just wet.
I just don't understand. It will continue to be wet, no?
No, it won't continue. It'll dry out a little bit.
This is such a real-life situation in a build, something big seemingly going wrong, but it ended up being the best blessing in disguise. So when I envisioned interior design, if you will, I knew we were using teal and gray as the colors. Initially, that meant that I wanted the butcher block to literally stay the color it was at first. I was going for that light-colored, washed wood look. I was trying so hard to avoid the warm, yellowy wood look. Right when I put the mineral oil on the butcher block, it turned the exact color I didn't want and my stomach sank. I even make a comment on it. You see, we went with mineral oil to be as safe as possible with our cooking area, and the mineral oil definitely warmed up the butcher block. I knew we couldn't waste money and get a new butcher block, so I took a deep breath and literally said, I'll learn to appreciate it. And that's exactly what happened. The warm look actually created such a beautiful feeling once we completed everything. I was so grateful we used the mineral oil we did. It gave it this gorgeous sheen, and all of the different colors within the wood were able to shine through. It was truly awesome. Next, we installed the drain in the shower pan. We first started with good old Plumber's putty.
So we're gonna just take a pretty good glob of Plumber's putty. It's like really solid Play-Doh. Y'all remember playing with Play-Doh as a kid? Okay. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll it. You're gonna roll it some more. You're gonna notice it starts getting longer. This might have been even a wee bit too much. However, you get the gist. I'll just go ahead and cut that in half. Take your thing of Plumber's putty. Get it nice and even to where it looks like a worm. Just like so. And then you're going to take this. That's like the perfect amount. We're going to overlap that. Just give it a little pinch, like so. You don't want to flatten it down too much.
And what does this do?
This makes a seal between this and the tub or the shower drain right there, the flooring. So no water can get down in there and leak through into your floor. And get it as close to the edges as you can. Just kind of pull it out like that. And then that way, if you notice it oozing out, that's a good sign. So we're gonna go ahead and put that, these three. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So on the back, I'll flip this around. So this is gonna go at the bottom of there. This is gonna go on there. And this paper gasket is so that this metal gasket doesn't eat into the rubber gasket.
James tightened down the gasket with a crescent wrench and removed the excess Plumber's putty with an iPhone SIM card removal tool to get a super clean finish. That's gotta be a pro tip. Next, it was my turn to do the same thing on our kitchen sink. We got this kitchen sink on Amazon. It's a 15 by 15 inch stainless steel undermount sink made by Ruvati. I followed James's instructions and used the same professional SIM card removal tool and got our sink plumbing ready. James started the next day by cutting the shower frame face covers. As always, to save money, we used a scrap underlayment that was long enough to cover the shower face nicely. James needed precise cuts, so he opted to use our Ryobi oscillating tool. Here, he's showing how quickly you can change out the blades. He used this Milwaukee hardwood blade to make the clean, precise cuts on the underlayment. We brad nailed them in, sanded and painted everything, and then installed the 1.5-inch aluminum L-trim on the top piece. Next was drilling the shower drain hole in the trailer floor. James put the shower pan in, traced where the drain was, and took the shower pan back out, and used our Diablo hole saw to make a quick and hassle-free drain hole. We used 1.5-inch PVC pipe, attached it to the shower drain, and reinstalled the shower pan. James caulked the shower pan edges with our trusty Mold Armor sealant, and then he went outside and used LOCTITE foam to seal the hole underneath the trailer. Next up came one of my favorite parts of the entire build, the shower tiling. We used a beautiful glass mosaic tile that came in 12 by 12 sheets.
On the backs of these mosaics, they actually have a mesh screen that they are adhered to, and so you just cut through the mesh screen, and in fact, we'll put this down here. And then the cool thing about these tiles is the way that they're made. They interlock.
Look at that.
Like so.
Went with 1/8 inch tile spacers. Bag of 500. Not that we'll need that many for like $6.
We wanted our shower's accent tile to be the same height as our kitchen backsplash, as if it's all one extending line of gorgeous mosaic tile. So we started with measuring that first. Then James measured where our large tiles would go. We used a 12 by 24, 100% waterproof rigid core flooring as our shower tiles. To offset the tile seams, James started with a full tile in the center at the bottom of the back wall that's 40 inches long. He then cut a second tile into thirds, creating 3 8-inch pieces. He used the outside ends on the left and right sides of the full centerpiece to complete the bottom row. We used LOCTITE Ultimate Power Grab in clear to adhere them to the wall, and then yes, we used our rolling pin to help us evenly press the adhesive across the tile. On the smaller wall that's 24 inches long, we used a single tile and cut 1/3 of it and swapped the ends to create an offset seam. We used clamps and wood wedges to hold the tiles in place while the adhesive hardened. We repeated the process until we were at our glass mosaic tile line. To attach our glass mosaic tile to the wall, we used this tile adhesive mat called MusselBound. We marked where to cut the MusselBound in half for our 6-inch tile section. Keyword being 6 inches, do keep that in mind.
We're f***ing idiots. Such morons. We're so stupid. Oh my god. Neither one of us sat there and thought about that. Why?
That MusselBound mat was definitely on there good. The adhesive actually activates when firmly pressed in place, so good tip to remember. We seriously couldn't believe the fact that we just absent-mindedly put the entire sheet up, risking damage to the whole wall during the removal process. After that embarrassing lesson, we put the 6-inch MusselBound mat on all the shower walls. The next step was to prepare the tile by cutting lines for straight edges. We had never used glass cutting scissors like this before, but for the most part, they really worked like scissors. James drew a line, used the scissor blade to score that line, and then cut the glass. It was finally time to hang the tile. We took those 1/8 inch spacers and placed them between the gray shower tile and the glass mosaic tile. We lined up the edges and stuck the tile to the MusselBound mat. Your heart might have skipped a beat thinking that James cracked a tile, but this is actually a different method to break the glass if the scissors can't reach for a cut. For this method, James spent more time scoring the glass, laid it over a construction pencil, and gently pressed down on either side of the pencil. And naturally, the glass broke seamlessly. The key to it is scoring properly. We finished putting up the rest of the tile, and it was stunning. Seriously, this was breathtakingly beautiful, and I felt extremely lucky to be able to do this in a mobile conversion. So here's a little backstory while you watch us finish tiling the rest of the shower. Through so much research, we were nervous and apprehensive to use real glass or ceramic tiling in any sort of mobile situation. Most research suggested that the vibration could cause things to crack, especially using traditional mortar and grout. I wanted this tile so badly, it was just so beautiful that I was gonna find a solution. And I think we really did. We went with the MusselBound mat because it created an activated adhesive bond with the surface, so we knew it was strong enough to hold it until we grouted. The MusselBound mat also had a foam-like, cushiony aspect to it that we felt would act as a buffer to dampen the vibration. But we think our non-typical grout solution was the greatest buffer for the mobile life vibration. We'll get to that solution in just a moment. With the adhering of the last set of tiles, our gorgeous 24 by 40 tiled shower was complete. We were stunned at how awesome it turned out.
Okay, guys.
Take two.
Take two. I just recorded all of this, but it was like from our torso down, you couldn't see our face. So, what are we doing today, Love Bug?
We are floating and silicone grouting our tile.
We are going to grout today. So we did a lot of research. We actually ended up getting the wrong type of grout initially. We got traditional unsanded grout that they actually recommend to use with this specific tile. It's a silver unsanded grout, but through all of the research that we did, unsanded, just grout in general, grout tends to can crack even in just a stationary house. And so we know we're not going to be stationary. We know there's going to be a lot of vibration. We did look up one company who created a silicone grout, you know, it was labeled like that, but we couldn't get a hold of the company. The best thing that we could find was actually from the same company that we got the unsanded grout from, MAPEI.
Or MAPEI.
So this is a silicone sealant that is actually color matched to the very unsanded grout that we got originally, which is silver. I doubt it has a metallic sheen. I think it's just going to complement everything.
I think it's going to go really nice.
Real nice,
Real nice,
yeah. So we are going to treat this kind of just like grout. We're gonna put it everywhere, all through the cracks. We're gonna take this epoxy float. It's different, very different from a regular grout float. It's got a smooth surface. It's, you know, it's made for epoxy, clearly. We're gonna take that, get it all in the cracks, and then we're gonna do the same thing that you would do with traditional grout, which is take a sponge, some soapy water, and you wipe off the excess. So we are gonna get started with that. Hopefully this is gonna have the bounce that we need, the flexibility. The MusselBound mat that we have, this ceramic tile, glass tile on currently, excuse me, hiccup, gives it some flexibility. And so we're hoping that finishing off with some silicone, filling in the cracks and whatnot will help give it flexibility for when we're vibrating and traveling. So we are gonna get started on that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna bring you, let's get it started. We're gonna bring you a time lapse in 3, 2, 1.
We did exactly what it looks like. We spread the silicone all over the tile and used the epoxy float to help spread it around. We tried some other tools like a putty knife to help scrape off the excess silicone. You do have to be mindful of the time so the silicone doesn't dry and start to look warped as you try to get it off. So this was a pretty quick process. We took some sponges with warm, lightly soapy water and wiped the glass tile. We also used a slightly rougher sponge to get stubborn excess off. We repeated the process all the way around, perfected what we could, and marveled at our shower. The hardest part was complete. It was gorgeous, and we were seriously blown away at how beautiful it turned out. That's it for Build Episode 6. Join us next time where we finalize plumbing to the sink and shower, install our furnace, and much more. As always, we appreciate you watching Home is Where the Hearts Are. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss our next episode. See you soon!